What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers, and welcome to Best Bet for UFC Vegas 42. We have Max Holloway going against Yair Rodriguez. Should be a very fun card. And I'm here with Uncle Weezy and AJ. We'll start with you, Weezy. Weezy, you looking forward to this card today?
Very much looking forward to this card. Early start. We're starting at noon Central Time, so I like these, and I've got some action on this card. I think bets on 4 different fights, so I'm fired up to break this down with you guys.
Yeah, for sure. Should be a good card. And then we're having AJ making his best bet debut. AJ, what is up?
Yeah, thrilled to be here. Thanks for having me. Yeah, as we were talking beforehand, it's great to get these fight night cards earlier start time on Saturday for the U.S. folks. That way you could get on with your night, with your evening, with whatever else you have to do. So awesome to be here. Looking forward to the event, and it's going to be a great one.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to the early start time and the early end time as well. As always on this show, there are only 2 rules. Rule number 1, we're going to use current UFC lines. And then rule number 2, no passing, even if it's like a Jean Vellante, Chris Barnett fight. We're going to find a best bet for each and every fight on the card. And I do want to shout out the chat before we get started. If you all can please leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We go live every week, 1 hour prior to when the prelim start. We have Hype MMA, first one in the chat, Ash. We have Kane, Mystic, Daz, Dad Trader all hanging out. Kane as well. Eric, Tristan, Troy, James. What is up, James? Ahmed, what is up? And then we have Daz with the dono saying, Brady, Weezy, and AJ love stat diggers. And this show too. Best luck, everyone. Hard card, if you ask me. I think it's a hard card indeed. I'm keeping it kind of light this week. But yeah, appreciate the dono, Daz Files. Appreciate you hanging out on a Saturday before the fight. Adam as well. All right, so I say we get into it right away. And let us start with the very first fight of the night. I think it's going to kick off with a banger here. We have Kennedy and Zekachu going against Da Un Jung. We'll start with Weezy. Weezy, what is your best bet for this fight?
So, yeah, I've got 2 bets on this fight, actually. And I don't know why this fight is the first fight of the night. It shouldn't be. This is going to be such a good fight. This is really 2 good, very good young fighters in this division, because we don't see a lot of youth in the heavyweight division, in the light heavyweight division. And here we're seeing some guys that are both under the age of 30 here in the light heavyweight division. I'm on Kennedy and Chekwu to win the fight, but I think it is going to be close. But the 2 bets that I have, one of them is Kennedy round 3. Now, Kennedy is incredibly durable, and he's got a fantastic gas tank. So when you combine those 2 attributes together, you will see guys usually try to finish these guys and get close, but then just fade out, and when you combine that with the conditioning and the durability, usually that means that you can win fights late when your opponent is exhausted, whether they're trying to wrestle you too much or whether, you just don't go down when you get hit repeatedly in the face. So I'm picking Kennedy to win. 3rd round prop on Kennedy is plus 1,200. And then I also have another bet. I'll give you 2 for this one. It is the scorecards equals no action bet for this fight. Because Kennedy is so durable, I don't think Da Un Jung can finish him. If you're on the Da Un Jung side, I would suggest that you bet him by decision. And the bet that I have here is minus 160. Only if there's a finish, you bet Kennedy at minus 160. And if Kennedy finishes him, you win. And if Da Un Jung finishes him, you lose. But if the fight goes to decision, the bet is a wash. So it's one of those kind of prop bets that's not usually there or on a lot of different books. But if it is, I think it's a really safe spot.
Moises saying the bout order has changed. I haven't heard if it has or not, and maybe it's Lawana starting off the card. I hope not, but I will see what happens there. AJ, so this fight here, Da Un Jung, Kennedy, and Zekachu, what are you liking here for this one?
Yeah, just kind of pivot over to the money line side of things. I liked him more and more as the week went on, and I think Da Un Jung is the side. I just don't like Kennedy's MO of getting kind of like the crap beaten out of him. Well, in the case of the Oldberg fight or in the case of Marquez fight, just starting out slow and then he has to weather a storm. Like, I usually look to bet against fighters like that. And Jung, yeah, he's not a cardio machine, but you could go 15 minutes. He took down William Knight 8 times. That takes a lot of endurance. I think that he probably does decision in Chekwu, but I don't want to get too cute with that prop because Jung can crack and in Chekwu, excuse me. He, despite being long and rangy, I don't think he controls distance well. I think he's very easy to close on. And as we saw in the Mike Rodriguez fight, Jung does have that one-shot KO power. I think he's the cleaner striker. I think he's got more grappling upside of the 2. He's just the guy that I trust a bit more to kind of pull away and win rounds. So unless if he just, can't close distance for whatever reason, doesn't want to grapple or gets tired all of a sudden. I think that he's the side here. I think he probably wins this fight more often than not.
And do you think he wins it by decision or KO, do you think? Or sub, maybe?
I would rather, I assume decision. Kennedy seems really durable.
Okay, so AJ's on the money line there for Da Un Jung. Yeah, I'm on the Da Un Jung side myself, but the play I went with is going to be the fight goes to decision, sitting at minus 121, minus 120 as well. The reason being is, like you guys said, both guys are very, very tough. Da Un Jung has a great chin, and as does Kennedy. Yes, he does get hit a lot, but his durability has held up. Both guys have solid cardio. I see this being a very close fight. Like I said, I am picking Jung, but it wouldn't shock me if it went the other way. But taking the fight goes to decision, I think that does cover both sides there. So fight goes to decision around minus 120, minus 121, that range, I think is the play that I'm looking at for this first fight of the night. Next, we'll go to the next fight. We have Mark Diakiese going against Raphael Alves. We'll start with you, Weezy. Weezy, what is sticking out to you on this fight here?
Okay, so this is a hard one. I think Alves is getting better and he's fairly experienced here, but we saw that 9 out of the 10 losses are inside the distance for Alves, and that is just an absolutely huge red flag so I don't want to put any money on Alves here. And I kind of feel like for Diakiese that the line is a little bit too wide. Diakiese is not really a finisher, but then we got the problem with this guy Alves has been finishing 9 of his 10 losses. So I think like the way to place a winning bet on this fight is just to bet the Mark Diakiese money line and eat that chalk up at about minus 200. But I'm staying away from this fight as a whole. I don't have a bet on this fight, and I just think the line is a little bit wide on Diakiese, but he absolutely should be the better mixed martial artist here and have better ways to win minutes. But so I'm just going to say the Diakiese money line because I think it cashes. I just think it's a little wide.
Yeah, for sure. I remember it being like minus 150 when we did stat diggers. It's now minus 230. Yeah, I do agree that Mark Diakiese should be the favorite, but yeah, minus 230 is definitely getting up there. For me, I actually took a shot on, I didn't take a shot officially, but I'm going to take the fight doesn't go to decision, sitting at plus 120. Weezy, you mentioned it. Raphael Alves has been finished in the majority of his losses. He's been finished in 9 out of 10. That is 90%. Mark Diakiese has been finished in only 1 out of 4, but I feel like if Raphael Alves does win, it'll be inside the distance. He's very dangerous on the feet, on the mat. And again, Raphael Alves has been finished a ton. So I'm kind of looking at the fight doesn't go to decision. Plus money, I think there could be some value there. AJ, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Yeah, slight contrarian take. I think that you could argue that the money line on Diakiese isn't wide enough. Alves is one of these guys that I typically like to bet against. Like he's losing minutes, and not just to guys like Ismagulov, like on the regional scene, up until he just gets a guillotine or just hits him with one big shot. Like that's the type of fighter that I like to bet against. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I always trust the guy that is more likely to win minutes, and that's Diakiese here. As you guys mentioned, his price was very, very intriguing back when it was below 2-1. But yeah, outside of just Alves having a moment or two and taking it a mile, I don't really see how he wins this fight. I mean, you go back to the Contender Series fight, he's struggling with low kicks. He's losing the fight up until, again, he gets a guillotine. I mean, Mark, yeah, he's not, an elite level lightweight, but is he like a mid-tier lightweight? Yeah, I mean, like he could beat guys like Lando Venata and Joe Duffy and hang with guys like Fiziev. I do trust him defensively enough to stay out of danger. He's also very durable. He's never been knocked out. He was knocked down by Hack Press, but he recovers fine. Again, I'm making a case for Alves. He could, be an opportunist. Like we'll get to another fighter later, but I always trust the fighter that's more likely to win minutes, and that's Mark Diakiese here. So I'd go with his money line as well.
Yep, makes sense. I do agree that Alves is probably finish or bust. If you do like the Alves side, Alves inside the distance is sitting at about plus 350. I think if I was taking Alves, I'd take him a look at that. So yeah, I do agree with that. Diakiese should be winning minutes of this fight. So move on to the next fight. We have Courtney Casey going against Lawana Jojo. We'll stick with you, AJ. What is sticking out to you on this fight here?
Yeah, it's going to be Casey inside the distance here. I'm surprised about how wide it is. I guess maybe just based on her reputation, but she actually has finished a decent amount of her wins. And Jojo, just going back to the Moras fight, I mean, I know that was up at bantamweight, but she just looks so bad defending there on the ground. I mean, Moras just shucked her off while she was in top, grounded pounded her. I mean, she was looking like Tatiana Suarez there in round 3. And then, you even look at the Balbita fight and the Maverick fight on the feet, Jojo looked improved in the Maverick fight, but she's so hittable. Casey has a 5-inch reach. She throws often and fairly hard. I just think she'll have opportunities to exploit the defense of Jojo on the ground or on the feet. Thinking she could armbar her from guard, maybe get a reversal, and then just end up on top and then end up in a dominant position and get a finish.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I went the same thing. Casey inside the distance plus 240 now. I bet it actually at plus 330, the opener there. Yeah, I went on like a little rant last night on my live stream about Lawana Jojo. I just don't get the hype with her. I mean, her striking's not good. Her striking defense isn't good. Her wrestling's not good. Her cardio's not good. Her grappling's okay. And just seeing her getting dominated by Sarah Moras. I mean, if Sarah Moras can dominate you, I feel like Courtney Casey was actually a sneaky finisher, finishing 7 out of her 9 wins. Jojo has been finished in 3 out of her 4 losses. I feel like Casey could get a finisher. I feel like a sub could be live, a TKO could be live, and yeah, plus 240. That really did stick out to me, especially considering she's now minus 300, which is crazy. It may seem crazy for Courtney Casey being this price, but I agree with it. I definitely agree with it. I just don't see it with Jojo. I don't get the hype, but maybe I could be writing her off a little bit too much. Wheezy, are you on the Casey side or on the Jojo side here?
Yeah, I'm definitely on the Casey side, but this line is unbettable. There's no way you can lay minus 335 on Courtney Casey. No, I can't do it. The opening line that you got on Casey inside the distance, I think it's interesting for a sprinkle, but I mean, I wouldn't even really want to be exposed to this fight at all. I guess I'd say Courtney Casey inside the distance. If I had to bet something, that would probably be the bet that I would go with, because at least you're getting plus money. And even like the fight goes to decision isn't juiced enough, in my opinion, for a women's fight. So yeah, I would just say Courtney Casey inside the distance. But for me, it's 1-800-GAMBLER all the way. I'm not touching this fight.
For sure. Buffalo on the beat saying, any concerns at all with the weight miss for Jojo? Could she have an advantage and just lay and pray? Yeah, she missed weight, but Casey was like bigger at weigh-ins, which was kind of surprising there. Jack saying he's going to take a shot on Jojo. The line is too wide on Casey. Yeah, you could argue that. She's 9-9. Jojo could be my ex's twin sis. For that reason, Casey by finish. There you go. I like it.
Yes.
JC saying under 2.5 bet or Casey inside the distance. I do agree with that. So let us move on to the next fight. And we have Sean Woodson going against Colin England. We'll start with you, AJ. What are you liking for this fight here?
Yeah, the only one that sticks out to me is Woodson by decision. I know it's not like the widest of props, but that's how I most likely see this fight going down. I know England was knocked out recently, but Woodson, he's just not a big hitter. He's a point fighter, like range, content to play that game. And ideally, if you are holding that bet or a fight goes to decision bet, you kind of want England to employ the same strategy that Zalal did and just kind of, cage push him a lot, largely be unsuccessful, taking him down. I think that's probably what we see here. England, he has the wrestling, but he just doesn't go to it that often. I'm pretty sure we talked about it on our DFS show. It's a huge concern. So I think that Woodson just probably keeps him on the outside, wins like a tidy decision with just his volume, his range, that sort of thing. So I would rather go with Woodson by decision.
Yep, I can agree with that. I think that is the most likely scenario there. I actually took the Woodson wins in round 3. The reason being, if England comes out here with a wrestling-heavy game plan, like Yusuf Zalal did, and attempts like 17 takedowns, which I don't think that's going to be the case. But if he comes out here and attempts at that many takedowns, I could see him slowing down a ton. I could see him gassing out and Woodson potentially getting a late finish. Or on the flip side, if he comes out here like in the Melsick fight where he only goes for 1 takedown, I could see Woodson picking him apart for 2.5 rounds, maybe finding a late finish there. But I'm going to take a shot on Woodson wins in round 3. Like I said, I think decision's most likely. But if England does come in here and tries to wrestle, I don't know if he has the gas tank to go all 3 rounds there. So give me Woodson in round 3 plus 1,100. Wheezy, what are you looking at for this fight here?
Yeah, I like both those takes, you guys. And I actually have Sean Woodson by decision in a really greasy 4-leg parlay that's eligible for insurance on FanDuel. And I believe that's the first of the 4 legs for me. It's Sean Woodson by decision plus 105. Yeah, I'm not going what you guys said here. Sean Woodson is not really a finisher. I mean, if you go back and you watch that Erosa fight, like, about 8 minutes into that fight, the light turns on for Erosa that, oh my God, these guys' punches don't hurt. And then he just starts stalking him. And he winds up being successful for that reason. So I could see, Sean Woodson out conditioning here, Colin England. And we talked about England. He's a good wrestler, but he just doesn't seem to go to it enough. That's very troublesome. And like you said, Brady, he seems to have fallen in love with his hands a little bit. and trying to close like what's going to be like what, a 7 or an 8-inch reach advantage here. Not a good recipe for winning minutes on the feet. So yeah, I do see Sean Woodson winning this one by decision at plus money. It's a really good bet because the money line on Sean Woodson is just straight up wide. And he's not a good enough finisher to pay up -350 for him. So go with him at decision at plus 105.
Looks like we're all on the same page there for the most part. MT saying England by split decision. Surprise of the night. That would be a surprise there. Tristan saying what does eligible for insurance mean? It means that if you're doing a 4-leg parlay, I think it's on FanDuel, right? If you get 3 out of the 4 right, you get your money back. If you get all 4, obviously you win the bet.
Yeah, you get a free bet in the amount that you made the parlay in if 3 of the 4 legs cash. But the caveat to that is that all lines have to be greater than or equal to -200. So you can't just parlay up 4 huge favorites, miss a leg, and then get your money back. You know, you have to like kind of lay some odds out there. So, but that's what that means, and that is available on FanDuel.
There we go. PayPal saying want to bet the over, but England could walk into a flying knee. He could. But we'll move on to the next fight. And we have Cynthia Calvillo going against Andrea Lee. We'll start with you, Weezy. Weezy, anything sticking out to you on this fight here?
So not much sticking out for me. I don't have any bets on this fight. I'm not betting it. But when I look at the stats for this fight, there's something that kind of just jumps off the page for me. And that is Andrea Lee's takedown defense, which is only at 58%. She's been taken down 16 times in 7 fights. And when Calvillo is at her best, when she's at her best, she's grappling here. So I see a nice path to victory here for Cynthia Calvillo to get takedowns, to accrue top control, and to win minutes like that, and potentially even get a submission. So I'm just going to say the Calvillo money line is about the only thing that's interesting me for this fight.
Sounds good. Yep. I remember earlier in the week on Stat Diggers, we were doing the show and she was like -105. The line has since then came a lot into her favor, but I'm going to agree with you there. I like Cynthia Calvillo as well. I'm going to take her to win by decision as well, which is sitting at around +130. I think she's going to implement a wrestling heavy game plan. If she does not, I don't know why she wouldn't, but she's probably going to lose. I think she's going to be at a striking disadvantage, a reach disadvantage as well. We've seen Andrea Lee taken down in every single fight outside of the Antonina fight. And yeah, if Calvillo, gets takedowns here, gets some control time, I can see her squeaking out a decision. But a fight I don't want a ton of interest in or have a ton of interest in, but the decision for Calvillo does stick out a little bit, +130. AJ, how about you? Anything for this fight?
Yeah, Calvillo by decision for me. I ended up picking her to win despite my hesitations about coming out and wrestling, because I feel like if there's more upside for a fighter to really like take a, run away with this fight with like a clear victory, it's her with her takedowns and her top control. She's a good wrestler and a very good grappler. So, it's as somebody that bet her pretty big against Chikagian, I can't go back to the well here just because you can't trust her to do that game plan. But yeah, by decision, I would be surprised if she finished Andrea Lee, who's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, who doesn't give up dominant positions on the ground. And, usually when Calvillo is getting dominant positions on the ground, it's against, people that struggle to scramble off of their backs, Marina Rodriguez. But Andrea does look to work back up. She's an okay defensive grappler. So I would lean Calvillo by decision.
Sounds good to me. Probably, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. I think Woodson wins. But if you factor in the small cage in terms of England's wrestling and Woodson not getting his range, I was actually close to playing England at that price. It's just you go back and watch him, and he just doesn't wrestle as much as you'd like to. So, yeah, if he comes in here and wrestles, he could have success. But from what I've seen, he doesn't go to the takedowns as much as I'd really like to see to place a bet on him. Bimmer saying a lead to win by unanimous decision. And Kane on the over 2.5. I think a lot of people are on that over, and the fight goes to decision. I really don't see a finish here, but it's juiced very bad. But we'll keep moving on here. I do have about 211 of you in here. If y'all can please smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel. We go live every Saturday, 1 hour prior to the prelims, giving our best bet for each and every fight on the card. And now we're going to go to the prelim here of Thiago Moises, Joel Alvarez. Really looking forward to this fight. I do have a lot invested into Thiago Moises, but we'll start with you, AJ. AJ, what are you liking from this fight here?
Yeah, I don't think this line is wide enough, to be frank. I think that Moises should win this fight unless if he gets guillotine choked. I mean, look, it's possible. We saw it happen twice in a row, but Moises is a very high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. I don't want to get, I think he probably wins the decision, but the reason why I don't want to get too cute with playing that specific prop is we might just see this fight play out and Moises just looks so much better than him. I mean, he is so much fought the much higher level of opposition and beat the much higher level of opposition. I mean, Alvarez, I mean, look, he's impressive on the ground. If you're caught sleeping, he can catch you. But the three guys that he beat are no longer with the UFC. You know, Duffy said he was retiring before the fights. Yakovlev gives up dominant positions often on the ground to, you know, capable submission grapplers. And then Bellawarda was looking like Khabib in the first round against him up until he got reversed in the second. And, you know, Alvarez took that inch and took it a mile. So, look, anything could happen in a fist fight, but I think what we most likely see here is Moises is the better minute winner because he's more likely to earn takedowns, top control time. He's the cleaner striker. Yes, Alvarez is long and rangy, but I don't like his defense. I'm not a big fan of how he defends low kicks and counters specifically. I think that plays right into Moises' game. I think he could get a finish along the way, but I don't want to get too cute. I'd rather play his money line.
Sounds good. PayPal saying the size difference is too big for me. Guess who else had a size difference? That bum Yazong Hu, and he looked like crap. So I'm going with Moises as well. I went the same thing with you, AJ. I took the money line minus 245. I think it comes down to, like, can Alvarez submit Moises? And I just lean towards a strong no. Like, Moises is going to have the striking advantage. The only advantage I give Alvarez is going to be the height and the reach advantage. And you're not going to have a height and reach advantage when you're on your back. This guy has a 0% takedown defense. So yeah, if Alvarez catches him in a submission, so be it. I'll be shocked, but I really do think Moises gets this done any way he wants. If he wants to outstrike him, you know, do it. If you want to take him down, you can do it. There will be no resistance. Stay safe on top. This guy's a legit black belt in BJJ, world champion BJJ. I think his grappling is good enough to stay safe and win a decision here more than likely. But like you said, AJ, I'm just going to take the money line to be safe. It covers a bunch of outcomes there. Give me Moises money line there, minus 245. Wheezy, how about you? What are you looking at for this fight?
Yeah, so the three of us, we do a show every Tuesday on DraftKings on Pub Sports Radio, 6 p.m. Central Time. Check it out next week. But after we're done, you know, we kind of talk to each other, see which way we're leaning on certain fights. And this is a fight that we kind of all saw the same way. And when I was looking at the numbers, just the numbers for this fight, when we were talking about it on Stat Diggers, Brady, you know, I was saying, you know, I like Moises here, but I can't get past that 6-inch height advantage, that 7-inch reach advantage. You know, Alvarez is just so big and rangy for the division. And then you go back and you watch tape on Joel Alvarez. And how the hell this guy has 18 wins, I will never know, because he has no striking. He does not use his length well when he strikes, but he seems to be in there with such bad fight IQ fighters who want to take him down, despite the fact that Joel Alvarez has no wrestling whatsoever, no takedown defense whatsoever, and no striking whatsoever. It's shocking when you see that this guy has 18 wins and 16 of them are by submission. And then when you go and you watch the tape, he's not getting any takedowns. It's his opponents who take him down. Then he works from his back and he gets submissions. Thiago Moises is better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu than Joel Alvarez. That's not debatable, really, you know. And the problem here is that Joel Alvarez's striking is so bad that he requires his opponent to take him down. Joel Alvarez in 4 UFC fights has not even attempted a takedown, you guys. Joel Alvarez in 4 UFC fights has had 4 takedowns attempted against him, and he hasn't defended one of them. Not because he didn't try. No, I mean, like, he didn't try. He just folded like a lawn chair. He wants to be on his back. So if the only way for Alvarez to win this fight is to get on his back and submit Thiago Moises, there's 2 problems with that. Number one, Moises is going to actually have to take him down in order for that to happen. And number 2, Joel Alvarez, in order to achieve that objective, is going to have to be better at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu than Moises. So, like, 2 things have to happen for this guy to get into his comfort zone. And even when he's in his comfort zone, he's going to be at a deficiency. I don't see how Joel Alvarez wins this fight, you guys. I just don't see it. So the Thiago Moises money line is what I'm betting on here.
Yep, looks like we're all 3 in agreement there. We'll keep moving on, though. We have the main card opener in Song Yadong going against Julio Arce. Yeah, should be a really fun fight here. AJ, anything sticking out to you on this one?
Yeah, I tend to think it's like a 50-50 coin flippy type of fight. And for that reason, I would just rather take Arce's money line. I had a really hard time picking a winner here. It just, yeah, I mean, maybe you want to say Yudong's a little bit faster, maybe he hits a little bit harder, but Arce, per the statistics, should be landing at a little bit of a higher rate. He's also got some length on him as well. But both these guys are very, very solid defensively. I don't typically like to bet against fighters that have such strong defense. And Arce, elite takedown defense. Yudong, good takedown defense. And when they have been taken down, they're generally good about working back up. And even as strikers on the feet, they're very defensively sound. They move their head, they move their feet. This is just a very underrated high-level fight. Like, people might look at their names on UFC.com and see like, oh, where's the ranking? Why aren't they top 15? These guys are very, very solid. My problem with Arce historically is he doesn't really dominate fights. The split decisions on his resume, but on the flip side, he rarely gets dominated. Like, he got dropped a couple times by Moises, but he recovered almost instantly, and he showed great fight IQ. He got in the clinch, he took Moises back, and he convinced a judge that he won one of those rounds where he got dropped. So I generally have a lot of respect for both guys. If I had to bet something here, it'd be Arce's money line.
Yep, sounds good. I mean, I can't complain with that. This is going to be a very close fight. I feel like it can go either way. So yeah, the plus money does it makes sense there. For me, I'm going to take the fight goes to decision, sitting around minus 190. I think both guys are very durable. I think if there is a finish, it probably comes from the Song Yadong side. But again, Julio Arce's never been knocked out in his career. I'm just going to take the fight goes minus 190, kind of cover both sides here. I think it does go to a decision and a very close decision as well. How about you, Uncle Weezy? What's sticking out to you on this fight?
Yeah, so leg number 2 on the 4-leg parlay eligible for insurance on FanDuel is Yadong Arce fight goes to decision. I got it at like minus 170. It's sitting around minus 190 here. Number 1, Julio Arce, an exceptional defensive fighter here. I mean, you just mentioned it, AJ. We're talking about a guy with 67.61% striking defense and a 93.75% takedown defense. And then you look at these guys' durability. We've got 45 combined fights in the careers of Yadong and Arce here, and we've got 9 combined losses. Of those 9 combined losses, only 2 of them have been finished inside the distance. So that makes you feel really good about these guys going to see the scorecards as well. And Yadong is pretty good defensively as well at 57% striking defense, and he's only allowed 13% control time. So I see both of these guys trading moments. They're both very durable. They're both fast, and they're both good defensively. So I see this one seeing the scorecards. It's leg number 2 of the 4-leg parlay. Fight goes to decision around minus 190 now. I think I got it around minus 170 something.
Sounds good to me. Let us keep moving on. Tom bringing up the Sarah Moore ass. Yeah, if you're getting dominated by Sarah Moore ass, I don't know what to tell you. But we'll keep moving on to the next fight. We have Miguel Byza going against Chaos Williams. Yeah, really looking forward to this one. Probably one of my favorite fights on the card. We'll start with you, Easy. What's sticking out to you on this one here?
Okay, so Byza, yeah, this one is hard, man. I heard Tajik Bey earlier in the week say that he liked the draw here. And I like to bet draws when I go back when on Monday I like fighter A, Tuesday I like fighter B, then Wednesday I like fighter A again. It's kind of like one of those fights. I am on the Chaos Williams side here. I like the reach advantage that he has. I think he's better defensively. People talk about Byza's leg kicks, but Chaos Williams brings some really good leg kicks of his own. Both of these guys have a ton of power, and they're both very durable. So I could see this going to decision. I could see it winding up being a draw if one of these guys gets a 10-8 round, but I don't think I'm betting that. So I would just bet the Chaos Williams money line here, which is sitting at Williams plus money. So you can get it around plus 130 right now. I think he can win this fight. I don't have any action on it though, but I would say the Chaos Williams money line.
Yep, for sure. Vince saying violence, Adrian with the don't appreciate you, Adrian squad. Let's go. I see finishes galore. Which fights do you see finishing? I kind of see a lot of decision on this card, but yeah, shout out to you, Adrian. Appreciate you always hanging out. But yeah, for me, I'm going to agree with you, Weezy. But I'm going to go with the Williams to win by KO plus 250. And the reason being is both guys never have been knocked out, but we have seen Byza hurt in multiple fights, and Williams hits like an absolute truck. And somebody in the chat also pointed out, I remember Thomas, who watches the show, pointed out as well early in the week, it was like Williams in like round 1 KO, like plus 800, plus 900. The reason being is because when he does win, by knockout, it typically is in that round 1. That's where he is most dangerous. I could see him coming out here, starting Byza early. But again, Byza has never been knocked out before, but anything can happen. So I'm going to take Williams plus 250. I actually really like that line a lot, and I was actually really tempted to make it official bet. But yeah, plus 250 does stick out for me. AJ, how about you? What are you liking for this fight here?
So this one's a real long shot. I don't do this often, and I'm not necessarily expecting it to cash, but why not? Byza by submission at plus 650 here, I'm seeing. And I don't have a ton of faith, similar to Anglin, and him going to the wrestling. But if he does, I think he's got a big advantage on the ground. I mean, I was pretty big on Pereira over Williams, and it was because Williams has shown very questionable defensive grappling on the regionals. He's getting his back taken for multiple minutes. And then we even saw glimpses of it in the Pereira fight. Pereira almost choked him out with like just one opportunity there at the end of the second round. And then he took him down a couple times, held him a bit. Byza is a very high level submission grappler, BJJ black belt, and he looks so smooth on the ground once he got on top of Sato. And he is, when he wants to go for takedowns, he's a pretty decent wrestler. I mean, you're not going to confuse him for Gregor Gillespie or anybody like that, but like, I have conviction that if he wants to wrestle Williams, like attempt more than a couple takedowns, he could probably get him down. So he's going to be playing with fire on the way in. As we know, Williams, fast hands, hits extremely hard, the low kicks, as you said. But it is something that is a long shot. And, again, considering he goes to that path of victory, I think that line is a bit wide.
Yep, for sure. I'd actually, take a shot at the Byza money line if I knew for a fact that he'd come out here and get takedowns. He's a black belt. Like you said, his wrestling solid, but he just doesn't go to it often. But yeah, if he does, that sub could very well be live there. Alexander saying Chaos split decision plus 2,000. Wow. Jack Attack saying I really think it's Chaos KO or Byza by sub. Tough to be confident either way. Kane saying at DFS, if you had to make a bet over or under 1.5 rounds, I believe the over under 1.5 is like minus 185 to the over, or plus 155 to the under. I would not lay chalk on an over like this. If I was forced to play one, it would be the under, but no confidence either way. Byza sleeps Chaos round 1. There you go. Outside of one pro fight, Chaos has either won by round 1 KO or by decision. Nowhere in between. Chaos by decision also might be a sneaky play. Good point there, DXJC. But we will keep moving on. We have the next fight in Felicia Spencer going against Leah Letson. Wheezy, anything sticking out to you on this one?
Yeah, this is a 1-800-GAMBLER fight for me. I don't know where Leah Letson is, and I don't think that Felicia Spencer is trustworthy to put your money on, period. I've just seen some really huge red flags with Spencer, but, Letson coming off a 3-year layoff, been in the military, had, serious health problems too. Who knows which version of Leah Letson's going to show up. And then, you got Spencer, who's 2 of 19 on her takedown attempts and attempted 0 takedowns against Dumont. I can't touch it, you guys. I'm not betting it, but if I had to bet something, I would parlay the Spencer money line because she should get the job done. But fuck, man, I'm not betting this fight.
Don't blame you there. I'm probably one of the biggest Spencer haters out there. I do think she's gotten a little bit overrated. Going 3 rounds with Cyborg, 5 rounds with Nunes. It showed that she has a lot of toughness, but toughness can only take you so far. Was really surprised at her game plan in the Dumont fight of going out there and shooting a massive 0 takedowns. If she does that in this fight, I can tell you one thing: she's not going to look minus 310. But if she comes out here, goes for takedowns, gets it down to the mat, yeah, she can cover her price tag. I think she's very good on the mat. A black belt in BJJ, great ground and pound, great submission. So yeah, if she comes out here, fights smart, I think there's a very good chance that she not only wins this fight, but wins it very convincingly inside the distance. So I'm going to take Spencer inside the distance, plus 200. Now it's plus 180. I would like a little bit better of a line there. But if she does get this fight down to the mat, I think it'll be over shortly after. It's just she has to get it there. She's a 10% accuracy, and it doesn't help when, like I said, in her last fight against Dumont, she didn't even try to get down to the mat. So I can't trust her with you, Weezy. But if I had to bet anything, it would be Spencer inside the distance. It's a plus money there. AJ, how about you? Anything sticking out to you on this fight?
Yeah, it's got to be Spencer inside the distance for me. Going back to the Dumont fight really quickly, I think, just some context, at least from my perspective, is just like, we see it oftentimes with high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners, which Dumont is. They tend to respect each other's ground game, and we want to see them, stand and strike for a little bit. And I think that's what we saw to some extent there. But even though the stats did say that Spencer didn't attempt to take down, she did try to pursue the clinch, which is where she often tries to get the fight. Dumont just kind of shucked her off right away. This is a much more forgiving matchup for her to wrestle and grapple here successfully. When I have seen Letson have to defend grappling, defend wrestling, it's not look good. I've seen her look really bad, actually. So it is a long shot, or longish shot. I still think that plus 200 is reasonable. And this is, I do agree with your point. Like, Spencer got a lot of credit for taking beatings when, as you mentioned, that doesn't necessarily translate into skill. However, I think she's a much better grappler than Letson. I do think that she is very smooth when she's on top. But yeah, again, those other matches were just much more difficult for her. I think we could see her go out here, get a scramble, advance in a dominant position, probably get a TKO or submission.
Yep, I agree with you. I think this does get finished there. Buffo saying, give me Felicia by submission. Jack saying, this is the fade for me. Spencer's the pick because of the layoff. Yeah, huge layoff, about 2 years and 10 months. Spencer reminds me of a PFL fighter. There you go. Wavy saying 1-800-GAMBLER on speed dial. Again, I agree with that one. Jan or John saying Spencer in round 1 or round 2 plus 300. I'm assuming that's on FanDuel Sportsbook. I don't hate that at all. Spencer, the cash dispenser. I don't know about that, but I think she should win this fight. PayPal saying, I agree with AJ. Spencer didn't chain wrestle, but watching the fight, she certainly tried to get the fight down to the mat. That is true. Hopefully she does get it down to the mat here. I think she does. She's going to have a ton of success, but we'll keep moving on. I believe we are at the co-main event. We have Ben Rothwell going against Marcos Rogerio de Lima. We'll start with you, AJ. What's sticking out to you on this co-main event here?
Yeah, there's a couple things here. I think Rothwell money line is pretty interesting. I just trust him much more in an extended fight. He's just so crazy hittable these days, though. I am nervous about him getting knocked out. I know that historically he's durable, but just he always dips his head to the right side. He always throws that lead uppercut. Like if De Lima is camped at any research, they will know specifically to plan for that counter. But I trust him much more in an adversity-based situation. I trust him much more if this fight goes to the ground. I think he has better cardio. But also the fight doesn't go the distance is interesting to me as well, because De Lima has generally shown to be killed inside the octagon. He generally gives up at the first sign of adversity. Ben does have good front chokes. I could see Ben wearing on him in the clinch and then just getting some kind of weird heavyweight forearm choke submission. But yeah, that would be the way I'd play it. Fight doesn't go the distance. And I want to put it past De Lima to even knock him out. Like I get it. Ben is durable, but like I saw Arlovsky hurt Rothwell. I've seen Rothwell hurt by OSP a few times. So, when you're as plotting as him, as lumbering, it's just so easy to land. And, at heavyweight, everybody carries a certain amount of power. So I could see it.
Yep, for sure. Silk is saying, show your gratitude, hit the like. I agree. Let's hit that like button, get those likes. I appreciate all of you guys in the chat. And yeah, for me, I do like Rothwell myself. What I did go with is going to be the fight doesn't go to decision. Sitting around minus 200 now. You could also go maybe the under 2.5 rounds, which is minus 142. The reason being, I think if Marcos Rogerio de Lima does win, it's going to be early on in that first round. He's very dangerous early on, has a ton of power. Like you mentioned, AJ, Ben Rothwell, very slow, very hittable. So yeah, I think de Lima KO in the first round very well could happen. But if not, de Lima slows down a ton. I feel like Rothwell can, take over as the fight goes on. Rothwell's cardio is not great, but it's going to be better than de Lima's here. And if Rothwell can get a takedown here, exploit that 43% takedown defense of de Lima, I think there's a very good chance that Rothwell can get a finish. I'm going to say second round, but get an extra half a round there. Under 2.5 rounds, minus 142. I think it covers both sides here. Wheezy, what do you like here? And am I mistaken that Rothwell is your ass shaving play of the week?
Yeah, it is. It is. It probably would have been Moises for my ass shaving of the week, but I like to pick the fight that's going to finish violently. I want it to be an ass shaving. Like Ian Gary last week with that highlight reel knockout. That's what I want to see out of my ass shaving of the week. And I don't really like de Lima in this spot. The average record of the guy that he's beating in the UFC is 2.14 wins and 2.14 losses. I mean, he's not beating good competition. We see the wins. The last 3 wins are against guys named Maurice Green, Ben Sosoli, and Adam Wieczorek, and it doesn't get much better before that. Also, we've got Ben Rothwell with wins over guys like Stefan Struve and Ovin St. Preux, and both of those guys beat Marcos Rogerio de Lima. So 2 pieces of common opponents there that have that Rothwell has beaten and Rogerio de Lima has lost to. The third leg of my 4-legger that's eligible for insurance on FanDuel is the Ben Rothwell money line here at minus 150-ish. And I also have a fight doesn't go to decision bet for this fight as well, because in De Lima's 7 pro losses, he's been finished in 6 of them, and he's been finished in all 5 of his losses inside the distance here. And De Lima in his own right is a very good finisher, hits very hard, and I don't see this fight seeing the scorecard. So you can go with fight doesn't go to decision. You can go with the Ben Rothwell money line. I think both will work.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Chris saying he went really heavy on Rothwell today. Rothwell by sub plus 500. I know a lot of people that are on that Rothwell by sub. Sean saying absolutely no chance Ben could get knocked out. He could, but again, he hasn't been knocked out since like 2009. PSSA, Rothwell is going to Jock Tits Alternative De Lima. Shout out to Jock Tits. RIP to him. But we'll keep moving on to the main event. And we'll go to Max Holloway going against Yair Rodriguez. Really looking forward to this fight. Really looking forward to see Max Holloway return and the return of Rodriguez as well. Weezy, so what do you like for this fight here?
So this is the 4th leg of the 4-leg parlay, and it is going to be Max Holloway by knockout. I believe that is boosted right now on DraftKings from plus 150 to plus 180. So if you have DraftKings Sportsbook, take advantage of Max Holloway by knockout plus 180. Yair Rodriguez is not known for his conditioning. Yair Rodriguez has been finished in 100% of his losses by knockout. Max Holloway is the far better fighter. All you have to do is look at the line to understand that perfectly. I don't see Yair Rodriguez making it to the scorecards here. If he does make it to the scorecards, it's going to be a life-changing beating where he takes about 400 significant strikes over a 25-minute period. Max Holloway by knockout. Book it.
Yep, I'm going to agree with you. It's now plus 140, but like you said, the odds boost, I think it's still there. I have not checked, but yeah, plus 180 on that odds boost for Max Holloway by KO. And I went back and watched the Cater fight again a couple nights ago, and I just thought to myself, man, if Max Holloway shows up and looks anything like he did in that Cater fight, Rodriguez is not going to survive all 5 rounds. Max Holloway looked phenomenal. He looked dangerous, and I do not know how Cater survived, but Cater is very, very tough. Yair Rodriguez has been knocked out in both of his losses. Rodriguez has never lost by submission decision. I think Holloway is going to put a pace on him and eventually find the finish. I'm going to say 3rd, 4th, maybe 5th round, but I think he does knock out Rodriguez at some point in time. So yeah, plus 140 is going to be the way I look at this, and especially that odds boost on DraftKings plus 180. AJ, how about you? What are you looking at for this fight here?
Yeah, the main way would be FanDuel has a prop. Holloway wins in rounds 4, 5, or by decision. I think that was hanging around like minus 120 at one point. That would be my favorite way. Like you guys said, I think that Max could finish this fight. Certainly, I think it would come from late though, more rather than early. Because Max, yeah, I mean he's dangerous in the sense that he like has a lot of volume, but more so he's not really knocking guys out with like one big punch. And as you guys said, if we're playing it out in our heads, like Yair should have some gas early, but then as the fight goes on, it should be Max all day, and then that in turn could get a stoppage. When you look at Max Holloway stoppages historically, it's getting guys with body shots against the fence and they just sort of crumble. Like Anthony Pettis stoppage comes to mind. I could see the same thing happening here, and Rodriguez just going back to even the Jeremy Stephens fight, his most recent fight, a win, he just seemed to kind of crumble there in the 3rd round. I mean, he got off to a strong start, and then it's like he saw Stephens was still there, and it's just like it seemed to just discourage him to some extent. Like Stephens pressured him, got him against the fence. Holloway's a much better pressure striker than Stephens, and yeah, I could see him getting the finish, certainly. I know that historically Holloway has a lot of decisions, but I could see him getting a late stoppage here.
Yep, I like it. If you guys follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, I did put out a tweet a couple days ago saying if Rodriguez wins this fight by decision, I will actually shave my entire head. I'll show up to Stat Diggers tomorrow with a completely bald head if Rodriguez does indeed win a decision. And I talked it over with my fiance, and she said if I do shave my head, she's going to leave me. So a lot is on the table. If Rodriguez wins by decision, not only will I lose my hair, but I will lose my fiance as well. So really going to be rooting hard for Max Holloway to get the job done. And yeah, hopefully that does not happen. But let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. And for guys just coming in or ladies just coming in, if you have any questions, now's the time to ask. We'll take about 5 minutes and then we'll head out of here. Max inside the distance is the play for me to play it safe. I've gone with Max 3, 4, and 5. I like that call as well. Quaver as well, going with that. Is anyone taking Yair? I haven't seen a ton of people taking Yair. I know the GOAT Tajik is, which concerns me a little bit, and the GOAT Tajik is actually taking Yair by decision. Do these odds boost have a high win percentage? I'm not sure. I don't really do the odds boost a ton. Like every now and then I do. Um, Rosen has Yair by KO. Yeah, I think if Yair does win, it's going to be by KO. Tajis says Yair is the best bet of the year. I don't know. We'll see. People are laughing in the chat. Yeah, it'll be very bad if Rodriguez doesn't win it by decision. Waving on the under 4.5. I don't hate that. But yeah, any final question you guys have? We'll start with you, Weezy. Any thoughts on the over 1.5 rounds minus 400?
Yeah, there's probably some value on that. I mean, yeah, I think that's probably a decent parlay piece to play with. We'd have to look back, I think, quite a ways in order to find out the last time either one of these guys finished somebody, their opponent in the UFC under 7.5 minutes. So that feels like a pretty good parlay piece. I wouldn't do it myself, but yeah, I think it's safe.
I think it's safe as well, but I also thought Bobby Green over was safe as well, and we all saw what happened. So be careful with those like very chalky overs. Is Rodriguez a 5-rounder? Is this Rodriguez's first 5-rounder? No, it is not. Weezy, you have a good take on the Kennedy Dalton Jung. Just like a quick take. How do you see this fight going down?
So, yeah, I mean, I think Dalton Jung is going to land the better, heavier, more eye-catching strikes. I think he's more technical on the feet, but I just think that Kennedy is just he's a really, really, really bad opponent, stylistic matchup for literally everybody. That size is freakish. That length is freakish. That durability is freakish. And the dude runs marathons, for Christ's sake. So he never gets tired. So even though Dalton Jung has a great gas tank in his own right, he could find himself in some trouble here in the 3rd round. You go back and you watch that Ulberg fight, and there's a point where Ulberg's got him up against the fence, and he is unloading on Kennedy's body, I think 8 or 9 times with huge shots. And at some point, the ref goes, "Kennedy, you need to fight back." And he's like, "Okay, boss." And then he just kind of like pushes Ulberg off of him and starts throwing punches. And it's like, holy shit, he didn't even get hurt by that. When you look at that Ulberg fight and talk about durability, Carlos Ulberg for the 8 minutes of that fight was throwing 22 significant strike attempts per minute and landing more than half of them. And he never really even hurt Kennedy. So I think it's a really bad stylistic matchup. If I'm betting Dalton Jung, I bet him by decision. But I do like Kennedy to win that fight.
Sounds good. AJ, who is your best underdog on the card?
Best underdog on the card. I'm going to kind of contradict myself here, but it's like one of the few underdogs that I think has a legit chance to win, and that's Chaos Williams or Julio Arce. I like Williams a bit more though, because if I'm placing a bet on him, I would trust him a lot more to really pull away with the fight rather than Arce's kind of just like a close decision. Whereas I think Williams has more upside with like just doing damage to Byza. We've seen Byza almost go down to Matt Brown. He was touched up a lot on the inside by Santiago Ponzinibbio. I don't think that Williams has the technical striking advantage, but I think he has faster hands. I think he's got more power, and I think he has better durability. And he could have success with low kicks as well, because Byza is susceptible to them himself. So that'd be the way I'd play it. I'd rather play Chaos. I think on the feet he has advantages. And as we mentioned, Byza might not even go to the wrestling, so it's a legitimate path to victory for him.
Yep, for sure. Hype MMA saying max any decision value here. I mean, maybe it's just I really find it hard to see Yair surviving 5 rounds. Again, if Max Holloway shows up and looks anything like he did against Cater, I just really don't see it. Weezy, you have a 4-legger, kind of asking for a 3-legger here. What's like a 3-leg prop parlay like?
3-leg prop parlay. Okay. How about fight doesn't go to decision for Rothwell de Lima. Holloway by KO. I love that Holloway by KO, guys. I really think that there's a ton of value on that prop. I do not see Yair Rodriguez lasting 5 rounds with Max Holloway coming off this massive layoff and a USADA suspension. And then what would be the third one, though? Maybe Nchekwu Jung, like over 2.5. Maybe something like that. But yeah, I mean, the 3, you know what? No, let's just do the 3. Woodson by decision, Holloway by KO, Rothwell de Lima fight doesn't go.
Sounds good. PSSA, you guys stacking any fight on DK? For me personally, I did stack the main event in cash. Either of you guys stack anything?
I did not.
I did the same thing. I did stacking in cash. Like, if you look at just from an opportunity cost standpoint, Rodriguez is like the best play. I'd rather go down there. Like he could go 5 rounds. He's 67. And like, if you just punt low with him, you could get like all these studs in your lineup. So I love it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I looked at it as well. Alexander with the dono. Appreciate you, Alexander. Appreciate all the work. Good luck on your bets. Good luck to you as well, Alexander. And appreciate the dono as well. PayPal saying a POOP parlay, a poop parlay. What does that mean? Anybody know?
That means positive odds only parlay. Those are like the we're buying a yacht parlays where you you mix up like everything's plus money so that, you know, if you got like 3 or 4 legs, it's going to be like plus 50,000. So Kennedy round 3, Anglin by decision, and oh God, what's another? Well, we'll throw Holloway by KO. Those are all plus money. You probably get like something like 50 to 1 on that, maybe even better.
All right, my poop parlay is going to be, give me Spencer inside the distance, parlayed with Casey inside the distance, parlayed with is Moises by decision plus money? Moises by decision is plus money. So yeah, Moises by decision. Those 3 for me. AJ, you have a poop parlay you like?
Yeah, I was actually going to go the same 3 as you, but except for Moises by decision, I'll go with GKC inside the distance. I think, Weezy, you brought it up on Stat Diggers, or maybe we're talking about on DFS. You know, Alves, 9 of his 10 losses have come inside the distance. And look, he went to decision with Ismagulov, but Ismagulov's a decision machine, and he even got close to finishing him a couple of times. So I'm not ready to say, like, all of a sudden he's got durability like Kennedy and Juku all of a sudden, you know, so...
Yeah, for sure. Jack's saying I'm betting Ayer by decision. Get the shaver ready, Brady.
No.
It's that's 12 to 1 last time I checked. Maybe I'll shave it live on Stat Diggers for you guys. All depends. But yeah, hopefully Max gets it done. PayPal saying he loves it. Max KO, Kennedy KO, spins inside the distance for Chris's poop parlay. And then Empty saying a poop parlay. Never heard of that shit. Yeah, me either until now. I think I heard like PayPal talking about it before, but never really paid attention to it. But yeah, shout out to PayPal. Shout out to all of you guys. We're going to kick it around here. Wheezy, let them know where they can find you, what you have going on throughout the week.
Yeah, check me out on Twitter at MMA Wheezy, and you can check me out on YouTube. My channel there is Uncle Wheezy. I do balls deep breakdown of fights. I also do a full card breakdown every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Central Time, called Just the Tip. And I'm on Pub Sports Radio every Sunday night with Brady for Stat Diggers, and every Tuesday night with AJ and Brady and Luke from Sparring with Reality for the DraftKings show. You can check me out in all those places.
Alexander, we are talking a buzzer. I'm not gonna pick that. I'm gonna buzzer that shit. AJ, how about you? What are you looking at for this week? And where can they find you?
Yeah, Twitter at AJ_Shulo. Like Weezy said, please check out our DFS show that we do on Pub Sports Radio. It's awesome to do that every Tuesday. Good luck on the card, guys. As we mentioned, it's maybe not the card where you have all these bets scattered around every fight, but I think that the spots that I at least honed in on are very like quality options. I think there are some quality options here, especially if you got your homework done ahead of time. And I think it's a good DraftKings slate too. So good luck to everybody, DFS and betting wise.
Yeah, for sure. Good luck, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers, Instagram, DFS by the numbers. I'm live on Pub Sports Radio 4 times a week, 4 to 5 times a week on Sunday with Uncle Wheezy. On Tuesday, doing the DraftKings show, Wheezy, AJ, and Luke. A great show there. And then I'm also doing some football content with Billy. So lots of stuff going on over there. And they're about to go live in about 5 minutes for some live commentary. I won't be on there today, but I am on there every once in a while. So shout out to them and shout out to you all in the chat. If you guys can please leave a like on your way out, and best of luck for UFC Vegas 42. Let's enjoy the fights and make some money along the way. And let's go. And hopefully Ayer does not get a decision.